So thanks for watching. It's Chippy at ultrabooknews.com tonight with the Acer S3 sent to us by @Morgan Mobile, who's a reader. Very kindly sent this over for us to do a live test with. You're watching a recording of the live session. It's going to be broken into 2 or 3 parts. We've got chat going on in the background. I make no apologies for the quality because it's a free live stream that we're sending out over Ustream, and yeah. If you want to support us, please like the videos on Ustream. You can follow us on Ultrabook News on Twitter. We have a Facebook page /Ultrabook News, and of course visit us on ultrabooknews.com where we do the news reviews, and we've got a big product database of all the Ultrabooks and the Ultrabook alternatives as well. So if you're not quite ready for an Ultrabook, or you want something better, or even slightly something in the more budget range, check out the database. There's a ton of devices in there that might help you decide. So Acer S3. So this is really the budget end of the Ultrabook range. It's the S3 with the 320 gig hard drive and the 20 gig SSD. So it's a hybrid hard drive device. We'll look a little bit more into that later as to what that means, but it means that you get some advantage of the SSD, the high-speed booting, for example, but you also get storage as well. So if you're storing a lot of videos, or even doing video editing, or storing a lot of audio, this has got a big advantage over some of the other Ultrabooks. It's also quite well priced, depending on where you are in the world. I think here we're talking about €800 in Europe. In America, I think you're talking about $800 for the base version, or no, 900, I believe, 899, which is not the cheapest Ultrabook out in the States. There's a Best Buy Toshiba Z835, which is cheaper, and in fact today, people in the chat room, Best Buy, you can get the Toshiba Z835, I think, for $699. Don't know if someone can confirm that on the chat session, but that is the sort of competition the Acer S3 will have to put up with, because the Z835 has got some great reviews. It's got some features that the S3 hasn't. It's got full SSD as well, so you want to check that out. Right, let's switch the cameras and go around the S3. I'll talk more about the specs as we go through. This will only be a 10-minute video, and then we'll get into more details in the other videos. So I've already unboxed the device. I've had it for 4 or 5 days now, and although I've been doing a lot of review work with the Samsung Series 9, I have had a good chance to use the S3, and I did write some of the review on the S3 as well, so can talk about that. But before I take you around the device, here's the box. Certainly not the same as the Samsung Series 9, which was a much better quality kind of unboxing experience. You're down to basic cardboard in here, and not much in terms of sort of accessories. A fairly standard power adapter, 3-pin kettle plug. It's fairly hefty. It's not ultra light. The Asus UX range have a much better power pack. This is European, obviously. Plug there. Instructions. Recovery discs, I don't think so. I think there's a recovery partition on the device, and that is, yes, that is it. So it's a basic experience you've got there for unboxing. It's nothing it's gonna wow you, unless perhaps this is your first laptop, in which case you won't be looking at the actual box. You'll be looking at what comes out of it, which is the S3, which looks really, really nice. For anyone coming from a 15-inch or 13-inch laptop of 1 to 2 years old, this is going to look a lot different and quite exciting to the eye on first glance. It's extremely thin. Let me just get the specs up. It's down to under 13 millimeters thin at the thickest part here, and it's not a big wedge. It's a slight wedge shape, but not it's not as wedgy as the UX21 or UX31. It's fairly clean all round. Not much in terms of ports on the sides and back. I'll look at those in a minute. And on the back, it's fairly clean as well. There's not a lot in terms of sort of big horrible stickers on this. And you'll note no removable battery pack. But let's just go around the ports then. On the right hand side at the back, this is SDHC, at least SDHC. I haven't tested SDXC, but I think it's just SDHC full size multi-card port. The connector, sorry, the cover that goes in there is a real pain to get back in again, so you'll probably be taking that out once and never be putting it back in again. It's fairly cheap cover on it. And then on the back, that's where your ports are. Power, full HDMI, and 2 USB 2 ports. So there's no USB 3 on the Acer S3. There's also no Ethernet port on here. So if you're in an office where Ethernet USB 3 might be important, then the Acer S3 might not be for you. But it's got the basics there. USB 2 is certainly not bad interface to have. In fact, the peripherals you get for USB 2 are way cheaper than USB 3, although prices are getting to equilibrium now on the 2 and 3. Full HDMI is also useful. There's a headset port here, and that's pretty much it in terms of ports. There's the fan. There's the fan output there, and you will hear it. It does come on fairly quickly. It stays on most of the time, and it can get loud when you're really pushing the devices. It's not like the Samsung or the UX21 that I tested, which are largely silent in sort of office working type scenarios. This one does have a little bit of fan noise. Right, it's supposed to be metal, and it doesn't really feel like really high quality metal. It doesn't feel cold like metal. I don't know whether there's a scratch resistant covering on this. It does feel nice. It does look nice. It's turn it over on the underside. The plastic's a little bit cheaper than on some devices, but I'm not going to say it looks bad at all. I think it looks quite stylish. And in terms of weight, it's 1.3, just over 1.3 kilograms. So it's not the lightest device out there as well. The Toshiba Z830 is 200 grams lighter than this, so 15-20% lighter. So open the device up, and I had this in standby, so the screen's on already. And let's just go straight down to the keyboard to show you that. This is a finished keyboard on this one, so you will see some slight differences in the key layout. For example, the Enter key has been split here to put in to fit in another key, because there's some extra characters in the Finnish alphabet that need to be covered here. Small cursor control keys, bottom right, and on this version there's the split or the broken left shift key. I'm not sure if that's the same on a UK or a US version. Probably not, actually, because if you look across, I think they may have put an extra key in where we might not need that on the US and UK keyboard. So that's the Finnish version. Screen brightness, volume on the right, and then function keys for wireless. Well, actually, to bring up the wireless control panel. It doesn't actually do anything, this button. It just brings up a control panel, and then you can do your connectivity changes. Sleep, screen off. Screen extended screen or mirrored screen. Screen off. Touchpad off. Speaker off. And there's no direct Wi-Fi off button on here. And what was the other one I was thinking of earlier, which I've forgotten about now? Can't remember. Anyway, that's the selection of ports of direct keys. You've also got a number pad in here as well, which the Samsung 900X1 A didn't have. Sorry, the 1B. I'm not sure if the UX21 had a keypad. Now, I don't think it did. You'll also notice the contrast on the keycaps. This is white on grey. It's not the highest contrast for the actual key transfers. And there's no backlight on this as well. So out of all of the Ultrabooks I've tested so far, even from the ones that don't have backlights, this is not the best in terms of contrast. So unless you're a touch typist, in which case it won't make much difference, most of us will be looking for some keys, and maybe in lower light, not so easy to see. Touchpad is a single unit down the bottom here, and with integrated left and right mouse buttons. Let's just talk in general about the quality of the experience here. So there's a little bit of click on the keys, and my wife certainly noted that it was louder than other devices I've used, in a very polite way that wives often do. Can you turn that thing off? But its quality in terms of its responsiveness and its accuracy, I have no problems typing with this. It's not the best feel of a key. so it's not really up there with a high quality keyboard, but in terms of speed of typing, I don't think anyone will have any problems, and you'd be hard pressed to measure any difference between this keyboard and a keyboard that might feel higher quality. The same goes for the trackpad. It's not the highest quality. I think it's an Elan trackpad. Certainly doesn't match the Synaptics in terms of feel, and there's a little bit of lag occasionally. If you haven't used it for a few seconds, the cursor can get stuck, and you just have to wipe it a little bit to sort of wake it up. I don't know if there's a sleep mode on this peripheral, as it were, whether it's maybe a USB peripheral, excuse me. But other than that, it's totally usable. There's no showstoppers on either the keyboard or the mousepad there. They've got also the nice grey Windows and Intel stickers there. Obviously, this is Core i5 version here, so we're talking about the 1.6 gigahertz with turbo boost to 2.3 gigahertz. We've got 4 gigs of RAM here. I said the 320 gig hard drive. On the screen, we have a 1366 by 7 inch 13.3 inch display. Sorry, 1366 by 768. That way around. 1366 by 768, 13.3 inch screen, glossy, quite bright, but in terms of contrast I was a little bit disappointed, and because it's glossy and the contrast doesn't seem to be so great, it's, I don't think, the best screen out there. But tell you what, it really does match into the keyboard. Really, it's one of those things you might notice, but after a while you'll probably get used to, and it really won't affect your productivity. It's just that maybe initial comparison with a higher end device might be we'll put this in second place. But I've been using it for a couple of days, really working on this, and haven't had really any problems with it. Glossy screens, you can always put a matte cover on them. You can't put a glossy cover on a matte screen, so in a way there's some things you can do. I've also adjusted the gamma correction on the screen slightly using the Intel drivers to adjust it slightly to give me a little bit more contrast, and I'm pretty happy with it. In terms of brightness, it's not as bright as the UX21 or the 900 X1B that I tested. That's the Samsung Series 9, and you won't be able to see it on the screen here very well, but it goes up to a reasonable brightness. It's certainly not daylight brightness, and it goes down to a fairly low. You'd probably need about 40% brightness for a normal room, maybe even 50%. So, webcam on the top there. There's no security warning light to tell you the webcam is on, and there's a microphone built in here on the bottom. Sorry, on the left-hand side. Cool. That's pretty much it for the sort of first overview in this part of the live session that we're running. So I'll do a bit more detail in parts 2 and 3. But for this one, part 1 of the Ultrabook news review of the Acer S3, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, follow us on Ultrabook News, Twitter, facebooknews.com/ultrabooknews, and ultrabooknews.com on the web. Thanks for watching.